The devastation in Southern California is growing. At least 24 people are dead, with more than a dozen others unaccounted for.
Dangerous winds have now returned to that region. Let's bring in ABC's Matt Rivers in Altadena, California. And Matt, there's a new red flag warning that's now in effect. This wind, this is not what anyone wanted. What's the latest there on the ground right now?
Yeah, good morning, guys. I would say it's a tense calm at the moment. Yes, the winds are coming back. We haven't seen the worst of them yet, so we're all just kind of waiting here with bated breath to see what the next 24 to 36 hours will bring. What I can tell you, having seen it firsthand, is that firefighters have spent the last couple of days taking advantage of a lull of these winds. I'm talking about cutting containment lines, putting out hotspots, laying thousands and thousands and thousands of feet of hose all around these areas to make sure that they can go tap those hoses and attack any fires that pop up. They have done extraordinary work over the past couple of days to plan for what's next. But of course, we know that there's only so much they can do in the face of these winds, in the face of embers being thrown around miles at a time. It really is an uphill battle for them. Meanwhile, with this investigation into what caused the Eaton fire, where I am now, also the Palisades fire, there's continued speculation that there was some sort of an electrical transmission tower issue here in the Eaton fire. Officials not confirming any of that yet, but we know some lawsuits have already been filed against the power company over in the Palisades. We know that officials still have not determined the cause of that fire.
And Matt, you touched on it. This next wind event will be weaker than last week's perfect storm, but we're still not out of the clear just yet. The winds will be strong enough to wreak havoc as well. So what's the best advice to residents there?
The best advice to residents, for those who haven't evacuated yet, is get ready to evacuate. Even if you don't have to, and we hope no one else has to do that, you have to be ready to go, because we see how quickly things like what happened here behind me, it happens in an instant almost. You have to have your papers ready. You have to have some clothes ready, your valuables, in a bag by the door ready to go. And that's what we've been hearing from officials, that we are by no means out of the woods yet. Even though we've got thousands of firefighters here, the resources that are in place now compared to what was here last week, they have ballooned in size, but still residents need to be prepared for the worst.
Yeah, and we know so much of this is because of the weather and those winds, but also people are really asking themselves, how could something like this so big happen? Are they any closer, investigators, to having answers to that?
What we know is that they're moving forward, with a task force led by the ATF. I think that it is the talk of the town. You walk around here, you're talking to people, and everyone is speculating on how this happened, how multiple fires started at the same time. Obviously, we know it was a perfect storm situation, with severe drought, with record rainfall over the past couple of years that fueled the growth of all that shrubbery that went up, in addition to those crazy winds. That all happened at the same time, but a lot of people are speculating that it had, what was the spark? And I think officials know that. They're throwing a lot of resources at this investigation, but still so far nothing confirmed from officials as of yet.
And Matt, you also got a chance to speak with a lot of residents, many of whom have just lost just about everything there. What's the biggest need right now for victims of this fire?
It's a good question, and I think obviously, there's the clothing needs. If you want a meal, you can pretty much get a meal. There's a lot of resources being put in the community here. Money obviously is going to be the big thing for a lot of people. There's hundreds of GoFundMes that have been set up by individual families, but I would also highlight the need for housing itself. There was already a housing shortage in Los Angeles, and now you've got thousands of people who are displaced. We've done some reporting where we're looking at, people being willing to pay double what the rent price is asking, because they're looking for a place to stay with their families. And they know that if you lost a house like the one behind me, it could take a couple years to rebuild it, if you can even rebuild it. And so people are looking for those long-term rentals in a housing market that was already under a massive amount of stress. So I think one of the more under the radar needs would be the housing supply here in Los Angeles just not meeting the demand.
And you're right, still a problem as we speak. Matt Rivers. Matt, thank you very much. We appreciate it, and stay safe. Always good to see you.